Good morning, students. A very hearty welcome to GC Tech Hub CS tutorials. Students, yesterday we had seen the introduction to MySQL, and we had in that chapter we had also studied a lot many things regarding the introduction and the origins of MySQL, some interesting facts, and also we had seen what are relational databases and how data is arranged in the form of tables in relational databases. We had also started with the introduction to a few data types where we had seen that the data types in SQL are mainly divided into three categories: numeric, datetime, and string. So we had already covered numeric and datetime data types. Today we will be covering string data types. So let's move on to today's class. So these are the various string data types as you can see over here, out of which our main area of concern is only character and varchar. Apart from this, we also have these many different string data types which have different uses, like binary and var binary are basically for representing data in the form of binary strings. Anything represented in the form of bits like 101101, so any alphabet, any character, whatever is there, that could be represented in the form of bits. Then blob is binary large object, which is basically used for storing images. Like if we cannot it would be very cumbersome if we have to store videos, although we can do that, like short video clips could be stored depending upon the amount of space which is there on the server. And also what we can do is, like for example, I'll give you an example, that is if we have to store employee information, so along with employee data we also prefer, many companies also prefer to store a small passport size photograph of the employee. So to store a low resolution image of an employee for purposes of identification, we can store that in the form of strings, that is in the form of binary digits, but a lot many binary digits. Hence, we need to store, we can use blob data type for storing them. Then text is simple. It is also used as char and varchar. Enum is used for enumerated data type if we want to create a list of values from where we can choose the values of a particular field, and set is for storing data in the form of sets. So we are not going to check out all these things because they are beyond the scope of the syllabus. We will be mainly concentrating on char and varchar data types only. Now what are char and varchar? There is a small difference between the two. They differ in the way they are stored and retrieved, in maximum length, and in whether trailing spaces are retained. So the char and varchar types are declared with a length that indicates the maximum number of characters you want to store. So as it is clear that they are used to store alphanumeric values, that is all alphabets, whether uppercase or lowercase, digits which are recognized as text, and special symbols, printable as well as non-printable. For example, char 30 can hold up to 30 characters. Now what is char? The length of a char column is fixed to the length that you declare when you create the table. The length can be any value from 0 to 255, and when char values are stored, they are right padded with spaces to the specified length. For example, if we have a field like S name and we take char 30 as the maximum length, and if the name is like the name which we are actually storing into the table, it is which is how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is 13 characters, which is equal to 17 extra spaces. 17 extra space for characters. Sorry. 17 extra spaces after, that is trailing spaces after the actual name. So this extra space will be wasted because we have already specified the maximum length as 30. So the unused spaces would be replaced with these trailing spaces, which is a waste of space. But char data type works very fast and you can only store up to 256 characters in the char data type. Whereas varchar is much better, which allows us to store more number of characters, that is 65,536 characters, and they are usually variable length strings where some extra. Now if suppose I specify s name as varchar 30, it might use one or two extra bytes in order to store some length information. Here, if I am writing Sakshi Kumari, then the rest of the spaces will not be wasted, rather it could be used for storing the next value. So the next value could be stored. These extra spaces, the 17 spaces, will not be wasted. So this is varchar, and they are stored without any trailing spaces. Extra space can be used to store the next data value. So varchar is usually very helpful and it is preferred more than char. So if you want to use, if suppose you have to choose between char and varchar, the most preferred data type is varchar in most cases. We can use char sometimes when the length, when usually the we have to store data which is of the same length everywhere. Like for example, it could be product IDs or model number or state abbreviations. Like we might whenever you book tickets online, you might have seen that if the station, if your source and the destination stations or any station in our country is specified using state abbreviations, and that consists, like for example, Bhopal has the abbreviation BPL. Likewise, Habibganj HBJ. So this is like most of them will have 3 to 4 characters max. So in that case, what we can do is we can use the char data type to specify uh, these type of values where the field, the data length is fixed in the column for all the tuples, and where we have a lot of variation we can switch to varchar. But char is, because char doesn't use extra spaces for storing length information, hence it is quite easier to process and it is faster. Whereas varchar uses some extra bytes, maybe 2 or 3 extra bytes for storing length information. Sometimes it can even use 1 byte for storing length information. So that is like, it gives a better, I mean, it takes some time for processing and hence it is slower as compared to char, but it is quite efficient. We can understand this by this example here. Like you can see here, the maximum length which has been specified here is 4, that is 4 characters, and the value which we are taking is an empty string. So sorry, not empty string, but one single white space character over here. But because we have used char, hence one space will be used for storing the white space character and rest will be filled with white space again, because they are what, this part will be wasted. So it is the same for all, like if we are storing AB, then also two spaces are wasted. If we store ABCD, then all four spaces are used. And if we are storing this string, then all the characters after 4 bytes are truncated. Storage required is 4 bytes. Same with, we'll see varchar, where the maximum length which is specified is 4. So, but it internally it differs. Like if we are storing only a single white space character, it will take up only 1 byte. AB requires 3 byte, where AB can be used uh, for representing AB, 2 bytes can be used, and 1 extra byte for length information. Then ABCD 5 bytes are required for storing maybe 1 byte extra for length information, but still it will accommodate ABCD because maximum length is 4, and here it will truncate the extra characters because the maximum length provided is 4. So the values shown are stored in the last row of the table apply only when not using the strict mode. If MySQL is running in strict mode, values that exceed the column length are not stored. So usually if you are using varchar, it will still support this because we are not by default strict mode is not followed in MySQL. Hence, MySQL offers a lot many relaxations like it doesn't pay attention to case sensitivity. Even if we are changing the case of any field name or table name, it still accepts that. So these were the important data types which we would be using in MySQL. Now some relational operators. We have these relational operators where the obvious differences are only these two, that is equal to and not equal to, as in unlike Python where double equals symbol, it represents equality, and not equal is represented by an exclamation mark and an equal to sign. Here it is represented by a single equal to and two angular brackets. Logical operators and, or, and, not. Now we start with introduction to MySQL. So firstly, for MySQL, you need to download the software from the website of MySQL. Although I will be uh, uploading another video on installing MySQL, which is a bit typical process because many a times certain things go wrong and we have to do a lot of hit and trial to install it on our computers. So we need to install a few things, like basically we need to install the MySQL server on the computer, which actually provides a base for storing our databases, and we need to install a GUI application of MySQL, that is MySQL Workbench. So we need a MySQL Workbench and a server application which enables us to perform most of the tasks with MySQL. So in this lecture, we are only concentrating on revision of MySQL. So I would not be going into the details of installing it. Later on, I would be uploading a video on installing MySQL. So MySQL is a very popular open source database. Hence it is, because it is open source, hence it's available free of cost. Officially, it is pronounced as MySQL, but many a times people say MySQL also. Handles very large databases, very fast performance. Why we use MySQL? Because it is free, much cheaper than Oracle. Each student can install MySQL locally, and easy to use shell for creating tables, querying tables, etc. It provides an interactive shell for creating tables or inserting data. Like I will just demonstrate this on my PC here. Now, as you can see that I already have my this I have Windows 8 installed on my computer. So I'll be going to the start menu, and here I would be looking for the letter M. So here within M, I have to look for my SQL folder, which is over here. We can see this, and here I'll look for MySQL 8.0 command line client. So I'll just click on that. It will open my command line client. We need to provide the password which we had set during installation and configuration of MySQL on our computer. Press enter and we get the MySQL prompt over here. So it's very simple, and what you can do is you can also pin the application to the start menu or set a shortcut on the desktop like this, and you will get this MySQL prompt. To exit MySQL shell, just type quit or exit. And you can provide any password, like it could be anything, a simple, this is just an example. Earlier in the lab, the password was usually you'll find it as 123 or 1234 because many students use it. If we set a difficult password here, it would be very difficult to remember it. But if you are using it for storing some real-time databases, then it is always suggested that you properly protect the database. Some basic queries. Select version, current date. So let me explain this. So I'm going to first search for MySQL command line client, and I'm going to pin it to the start menu and open it from here, and just I'll increase the font size little bit. And I'll also change the background. You can also change the layers, the text color, screen color. One second. There is some issue with it on my PC, so I'm going to set it to the default colors. So some interesting examples, like select version, current date. So I'm just typing it here, select version and current date, and you can see that it gives the version and the date information here. Date is usually in this format, that is YYYY-MM-DD, that is year, month and date. In this example screenshot, as you can see here, the version is very old and it's the date which dates back to 2002. So most MySQL commands, they end with a semicolon, and MySQL returns the total number of rows found and the total time to execute the query. Keywords may be entered in any letter case, whether capital or small. Like if I write these three versions, they all will give us the same uh, result. MySQL can also be used as a simple calculator, like if I write here select, and you can use cos, I'm using pi divided by 4, and you can see that we get some answer over here. So we can just use SQL as a simple calculator as well. You can also enter multiple statements on a single line, just end each one with a semicolon. Like for example here, select version, select now. So we can just enter two different uh, commands, and in order to differentiate between them, that is because they are two separate commands and two separate statements, so you get their results one below the other. Like if I write here select cos pi divided by 4 comma select version, and you will get their answers on separate lines. Multi-line commands. MySQL determines whether your statement ends by looking for the terminating semicolon, not by looking for the end of the input line. Like we can provide the commands on the separate lines because it looks for semicolon as the termination statement. So in case of larger queries, we can divide that in separate lines. So if you decide you don't want to execute a command, you can cancel it by typing /c. Like sometimes I can write select star from enter books where, and I think that I don't want, something went wrong and I don't want to continue. So I can just type /c and end that command in between. To get started on your own database, first we need to check which databases currently exist. Like I will be using the command here show databases to show me the currently existing databases. So here it shows me a catalog of all the existing databases. As you can see, the word Sakila it appears over here, which is actually the name of that dolphin which you see on MySQL monogram. So it is already provided as a sample database by in the latest version of MySQL. Like I have already created a database, so I will be checking it. Like for now, I need to use my own database. So for that, I will type use and the database name, that is GargiDB. Press enter, so it will give me a message that database has changed. Now I want to check the number of tables stored, so I will use show tables, and this will show me all the tables which are stored in my database. And now to check each table, I will be using select asterisk from table name to check what is there in the tables, to check what is stored in the tables. So this is how I can use the simple commands of SQL to to get started. So students, that's all in this class. In this class, we understood basically the string data types and some basic commands to get started with MySQL. In the next class, we will actually start with creating a table and working on queries. Thank you.